Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Well, Amazon, wild ride for shareholders there last night. You're looking on top at the pre-market chart. Actually, they missed on the top line. They missed on the bottom line. Stocks sold off initially. Got down, Joel, go find that where it got down to.
249.50.
Got down to 249.50, and then they started buying it. And this is just the type of market this is. It shrugs everything off. We've called it the honey badger market before because honey badger don't care to rallies anyways, and the Amazon stock don't seem to care if it's bad news. Rallies anyways. Stock is now trading up over 22 points this morning, up at 282.10.
Yep, news algos obviously busy on the Amazon news. Took it down to that 249.50. Going on the dailies here, you did have a small gap to fill. You had a low at 253.26 back on the 2nd of January. That's not really relevant. What traders want to know is what's going to be the play today. You still got to focus on this 284.48 to 284.72. That was a double top from Friday and Monday. All-time highs in the stock. We did exceed it in the pre-market by quite a bit. The overkill on the short cover took it up to 289.94. But Dennis, traders should just be keeping an eye on that double top there. It's still a valid number up to 285. We're a couple bucks below that.
Just been so hard to short this. Every time somebody tries to short this stock, it seems to just rip their face off. You look at those earnings, they make 21 cents against estimates of 28, initially taking it down, but there's just so many people that are bearish this stock or not bullish it. Sentiment, just from a valuation perspective, has not been good. Everybody's always popping on CNBC saying the valuation doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Like we've been saying on the show, it's all sentiment trading. That's why Apple can fall like crazy. That's why Amazon can rally on crappy earnings. It's just sentiment, and when everybody's in the herd's not really that bullish, the stock continues to climb, and it squeezes the shorts as well. And we know, like, if you're short the thing, it hasn't been a pretty ride. This kind of reminds me of like 1999 when we were back in the tech bubble.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
It really
You're gonna
does,
scare
though.
people. They're going to turn our show off.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to turn around and crash here, but I think it does end ugly. I just don't know when. But that tech bubble, you can look back there, and valuations, kept going up. There was stocks, basically trading at $20. They were overvalued. They ended up going to $200 back in the tech bubble, and then ended up going to zero eventually. Now Amazon is going to do that. But the valuation, it's hard to just sit here and say, look, from a valuation perspective, it's overvalued. You got to sell it. Maybe that's true. I don't think I want to own it in my investment portfolio because long term it does come down, but who knows how long this bubble continues to inflate for.
Yeah, and just short term, we've been hugging this 280 level. If you are playing it long off the hop, you break below this 280 here, and I think there's a lot of real estate on the downside.
Other stocks we've got here, Boeing just reported there, Joel. Stock trading up about $1 here right now in the pre-market. They beat by 9 cents, $1.28, against estimates of $1.19. Revenue was a little bit light, but market doesn't seem to be too concerned about it. They are rallying the stock here, and it's approaching that key $75 level.
Yeah, the market doesn't care about it. The NTSB doesn't care about it. I mean, just everything with this stock. If you think as much as bad news has been out there, they have not been able just to crack this stock. Just the sentiment with the good earnings now still keeps it in a favorable mode. Looking at the pre-market activity here, we did get a high at 74.89. Going up to these three highs here right around the $75 level. So I'll look at that as resistance. We're quite a ways away from the 73. So whatever it takes to take that thing below 73, more bad news regarding the nightmare liner or whatever, you got to stay long until that 73 is taken out.
Chesapeake. McClendon is out, Joel. He's going to be stepping down come April. They're going to be getting a new CEO. That news came out after the bell last night around 5:45. You can see the huge spike up in your chart there right around that time when they announced that that Aubrey McClendon was going to be stepping down. Stock is up over $2, or actually, yeah, over $2 on this news, trading up near 21 bucks.
how would you feel if you, step down from a company,
And it
okay,
goes up
and the
10%.
stock rallies $2? I mean, pretty amazing move here. The initial spike in the pre-market took us to the $21 level, and then Icon probably got in there and lifted some small offers to get it up to 21.49. So that's been the pre-market high. Lo and behold, you go back until October as the stock really started to lose steam. You had highs between 21.35 to 21.66. So that's going to be major resistance. You really can't slough off this move, though, Dennis. You got 2 million shares trading.
Yeah, big volume here. I love that 2145 number you're pointing out for two reasons. The first reason, obviously, is up here in the after hours. That's where it got up to. And then, obviously, those couple of tops we had back in October in that same area. So you've got the pre-market validating some old tops there, which makes me think that 2145 area could give you some resistance when the regular session starts. NOC also reported earnings here. Stock is trading up just slightly, $68. It just ticked, but it's offered 67.5. They beat 214 against estimates of $1.74, but it is pulling back a little bit here since spiking up above 68 just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, there is a high that you have on the daily chart at 68.35. Lo and behold, we did get to 68.25 in the pre-market. That would be your first point of resistance. A better resistance point would be just under the $69 level. You had two highs at 68.87 and 68.90. Looking at the downside here, double bottom, and yesterday and Monday's trading 66.26 to 66.29. That's major support. I mean, the only thing you have to look at this is fundamentally with the government. What are they going to do with government expenditures? And that's the big question for not only Northrop Grumman but the rest of these.
Yeah, that's hung over a lot of things. That's like a wild card here. But short-term market doesn't seem to be too worried about anything. Obviously, we just keep on climbing up here. Facebook reports tonight. Stock did get beat up yesterday ahead of the earnings. It's up 23 cents this morning, but it did not have a good day yesterday, giving back over $1.50 throughout the day. Is that what are you thinking here, Joel, on the Facebook?
I've kind of lost my feel a little bit with this stock. It started, after it made that high at 32, I believe it was 32.21 right here, and it pulled back. I got bearish. I didn't do anything on it. Then it popped up and made a new high again at 32.51. So you got a little bit of a topping pattern here. I'd use that 32.51, 21 to 51 is major resistance. And I don't think you really get worried about this stock breaking down until you get below the $30 level. But of course, a lot of it's dependent on the earnings coming out today. In the pre-market, someone has their refreshing offer here at 31.33. So keep an eye on that as resistance.
Qualcomm also reports tonight, QCOM. Stock trading flat right now. Actually, yesterday here, I've got it ticking down. I don't know if that's a bad tick or not, because I'm looking at your chart. I don't see the same thing. But anyway, 63.45 is where it's trading at, just up a penny here this morning. What's your take on the Qualcomm?
Wow, someone wants out of the stock here at the $65 level. You did have a high of the move at 65.53, but since then, every time it sniffs 65, sellers are coming out of the woodwork. We're quite a ways away from that, so looking perhaps to fill the gap on the downside. You had a gap between 62.25 and 63.54. We started to fall into that a little bit. I actually did fill it yesterday at 62.33. So 62.30 to 65 seems to be the range in this until it breaks out one way or another.
Yeah, 65.45, 65.50. You do have multiple tops up there. So if anywhere between 65 and 65.50, there is some major resistance up there. So if the earnings are solid here after the bell, look for it to slow down possibly in that 65 to 65.50 area. If the earnings aren't good, then you have some lows you can look at in early January where we got down close to $60 down there at just $60.22 on the 31st of December.
Yeah, that 65.5 area is confirmed by some highs that we had here in mid-September. We're looking at a weekly here, so that area, adding more significance to that resistance.
ExxonMobil gets a downgrade at Macquarie today. Stock is trading down 36 cents here. I want to highlight this $92 level has been absolutely enormous. It's tried to take it out the last few days, despite Chevron actually taking out its highs. ExxonMobil has been able to. This 92, if you go back into November too, had multiple highs back there in November, and then obviously the last couple of days it's been topping out there. You got some institution that's dumping a big chunk at 92, and the high frequency guys feasting on him, selling in the 91.90s. Every time the thing gets up to the 91.80s, 91.90s, it seems to sell back off.
Yep, yesterday's high, 91.94. You had a high at 92.05 back on November of last year. So, you're getting in a major resistance area, multiple tops in this area. So if you are playing it from the short side, that 92 seller gets taken out. Perhaps it's time to hit the, look for an exit. But always a play sometimes on these is when they break above a key level like that. All the HFT guys come in, they buy the offer, they're looking for the follow through. And if you don't get that follow through on the upside within 5-10 seconds, it's time to hit the exit.
Yeah, a lot of times you do see them take out that level by a nickel or a dime, shake out anybody who was leaning on that level, like you were just saying, like the high frequency guys, and then they turn around and sell it off anyway. So these levels can have significance. That's sometimes why I think you see tops at 92.05 a lot of times at the nickels when they've taken out a key point, and then everybody's like, oh, it's breaking out, and they turn around and they try to buy the thing actually, and then that's when they flush them out. So stocks always go down, you at least expect them. So. Joel, you wanted to highlight a couple other stocks in the Big Ten here. I think it's a good idea because we haven't focused on the Big Ten in a while.
Yeah, there's a couple stocks here. I mean, we've been talking about Mr. Softy here forever. It finally did fill that gap from the last earnings miss. The low on that day was 28.21, and then you got a double top here at 28.23 from a couple sessions on Friday and Monday. Yesterday, people stepped in a dime ahead of that at 28.13. So if you're still a whole believer in this whole range trading thing from the low 26s up to 28s, the range was extended a bit, but you're running into major resistance here in Mr. Softy. And, with a little bit of a weak market here, perhaps looking at a lower risk short at those levels. Generous Electric, I did see it trading up here in the pre-market. You have a couple highs here at the 22.54 to 58 level, so there's major resistance there. Looking to fill the gap up to 22.80 back in October.
It's been a slow, steady climb here for GE over the course of the last 10 trading sessions, bouncing up or rallying up from the $21 area, now over 22.5. Makes me think it's going to continue the march. It looks like it wants to get up to that $23 area where we topped out multiple times in September and October. I'm not sure. I don't think it's got enough gas to get there today, but maybe over the course of the next few days, if it continues this slow grind north, maybe that's where it starts to find some major resistance. Procter & Gamble has been on a tear ever since they reported here. Stock just continues to climb. I can't believe it. It just keeps on going. Here's a stock that usually has ranges of 50 cents, 70 cents. It was up another dollar again yesterday. Stock is just on a tear. Took out the key 75 level, closed right on the button there. Again, I keep trying to find resistance. 75.50 has a little bit, and then 76 is huge. These whole numbers do work temporarily on it, but then it just seems to blow through them anyways.
Double top here, maybe. 75.18 was the high back in 2007, December of 2007. You got up to 75.25 yesterday. We all know what happened last time it got up at that level, but just be careful on this one. It takes out, we are trading below 75, but you take out, some of these just minor support levels all the way down here. I mean, you're looking at yesterday's low at 73.52. I mean, if this thing goes in reverse, I see that as the only support point. The other thing the last of the Big Ten I wanted to mention was Beamer here. I mean, you had the gap up, right? They had good earnings. Everyone loved it. Yep. And then you had the high of the move, and now you're having 4 or 5 days of consolidation. All right, the low since making that high in the 208.58 level has been 203. I mean, you tell me, Dennis. You're a better technician than me. What do you see below 203 in
I
IBI?
don't know if I'm a better technician than you, but I often have different opinions sometimes. What I see nothing, Joel. I learned this from you back in the day. It's a big gap down there, obviously from the earnings report. And what we always say, when you've got air and it starts to get into that area of air, it can move through there with relative ease. So I would be very nervous if this stock started trading below 203. The low right back there from 4 days ago on the 24th was 203.08. Stock needs to stay above 203 because you're right. If it gets below that area, it starts to get into the gap.
Okay, to
GDP
finish
just
up the
came out
show.
here, Joel. We're
Yep.
down four and
Go
a
ahead.
half points. So the market is selling off just a little bit here on the GDP, 0.1%. The Q4 was, it was actually down. So a little bit disappointed the market is here. So we are getting a little bit of a sell-off. We just kissed down to 1498.50, bounced $2. We're at 1500.50 right now. Obviously, Kiwi hold that 1500 number, but you were going to say that 1491 number is still important too.
Yeah, we were just talking before we got on the show, and actually we got a little bit off it. How right now it's just the fundamentals. Bad news is good news. Good news is good news.
Everything.
Everything that's coming across the tape is being construed in a positive way. Here you have a little bit of fundamental news that is negative. I don't know if it's enough to knock this bull off.
Doesn't appear to be. Just rallied
Off
another
its
point.
festival. It's coming right back. Also, the other fundamental thing, Dennis, you got to be aware of is the 2-day Fed meeting. I mean, if they're going to announce that they're going to raise interest rates anytime soon, I'll walk on a handstand across the Ambassador Bridge.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing that.
I don't see what's happening, but I'm still, if you are squeamish bull, keep an eye on this 1490 level. Double bottom in that. We're still good to go north until we take out 1490.
So the Bulls are still in charge despite a little bit of pullback here this morning. That's our show for today. Have a great trading day. Back with you guys tomorrow.